Hello and welcome to today's episode of Digital's in a Cruel World, and welcome back. We are currently not all back at the moment. We've entered what is the twilight zone of holiday season. So there's a little bit of me, a little bit of Ryan, a little bit of John, a little bit of Lee. Every other week we're entertaining each other's holidays as they are. Mine sound a little bit more luxurious than John's, which Ryan was just telling me about now, is a tent in a field. But today we've got a great episode coming to you. We're covering the partnership strategic alliance between MYOB and Silverfin. We've got app news, and we're going to talk to you about our upcoming awards event, which, if you haven't seen, where have you been? What type of rock are you living under? Because we would like to know the specimen and quality of it is. Ryan is going to talk more about this, because while I've been sunning it up in the Amalfi, Ryan has been hard at work making sure that this awards event is off the ground and ready, and it is unique, and there is a whole panel of judges behind it. So Ryan, how are you and how's it going?
Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, I've not been sunning it up in the Amalfi or hiding in a tent in a field like John. No, I've been busy working and delivering the launch of our inaugural awards event, which is going to be taking place on the 16th of September. So yeah, it's really exciting. Nominations are open. If you haven't nominated, by the time you listen to this, you've probably only got a couple of days to do so. So please make sure that you do look us up on the socials and make sure you hit the nominate button, because anyone can be nominated for these awards. It is not something that you apply for. You have to nominate someone else, and anyone can win. We're going to be streaming the awards live on the 16th of September from Manchester, and it's going to be probably a one-of-a-kind awards event. That's how we're designing it to be anyway. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. You excited for it as well, Indy?
I am. We're heading up to the awards event just to give it a little look-see. And I think that I'm quite excited because it's ahead of Accountex North, which is a great conference, a little bit different, more intimate. There are generally, it's a better crowd of people because a lot of friendly faces compared to...
What are you saying about Londoners? What are you saying? Us down southers.
No, the Londoners just tend to know how to serve up a good smile, don't they? They know how to serve us up. It's just a smaller event, and I think that it's easier to get around the event room, the event hall, for that reason. Meet a lot of different people. Everyone has a side event, but it's not too intrusive, so everyone can end up at the same place at the end of the night. Really looking forward to our awards event, because I think that it's going to be a nice addition to what Accountex North is all about, and the fact that we're able to celebrate some different names in the industry, not your usual awards event. And it's not something that I think we're trying to step on anyone's toes with. We're just doing something that allows other voices, other names to come into the fold, and give some appreciation, so that people know that there are other approaches to how different firms are running practices, they're running their businesses and making gains in this space. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it. Still looking forward to seeing you in a wig as well. That will be the highlight of the night.
I'm not sure this is going to happen. I know you and John keep saying that you're going to get me in a wig for the night, but I'm just not sure I could pull it off.
You know what, you can. You know, we really need to make sure that you stand out from all of the other
whiteboard men,
politically challenged gentlemen in our industry.
Wow. I mean, that's just unbelievable that you can get away with saying that, Indy. Look, I think the thing for us is that if you are going to Accountex North, please do check out our awards the night before and come along. And vice versa, if you're thinking about going to our awards night, also do make sure you go to Accountex North. They're tied in together. It's going to be a great couple of days. And if you want to know more about how it works, check out our YouTube channel. We explain it in full, listing the judges and explain why we've created this and how It will lead up to the first awarding. Is that a word?
Rewarding. Awarding.
But before any of that, got to do some app news, haven't we?
Straight into the news then with a big update from Silverfin and MYOB based over in Australia. They've announced a 10-year partnership, which is an exclusive partnership with MYOB to help build out Silverfin's platform into the MYOB tech stack to enhance their presence over in Australia and New Zealand, and to enable them to bring things like Australian, New Zealand specific templates and accounting and tax requirements into Silverfin to help their expansion. So, fascinating announcement this, I think, because I guess probably for many people in sort of the Xero ecosystem of products, they kind of view MYOB a little bit, I guess, like Sage used to be viewed as sort of the dinosaur firm or dinosaur business in the accounting tech space. But of course, they still have a massive presence over there. And, this is really interesting to see sort of Silverfin steal a march into, MYOB's territory to expand their presence over there. Lots of interesting things announced around this in terms of how things like artificial intelligence can improve the way that bookkeeping and the accounts compliance process is done, and also how leveraging MYOB sort of expertise will help Silverfin to sort of streamline and shortcut their entrance into the market. So I think it's going to be one to watch. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how accountants in Australia react to this, particularly maybe those ones that are more lent into the Xero ecosystem than are still using maybe a hybrid of both. But what an announcement, and what a way to launch into a new territory.
So, am I right that this is an exclusive partnership, i.e. that you have to be using MYOB to work with Silverfin? Is that how it works?
My understanding is that effectively they are, I guess, almost like white labeling Silverfin into the MYOB platform. Yeah, so that is kind of going to be the way that it works. And so you'll start off with your pre-accounting stuff and your bookkeeping stuff in, say, maybe Dext and Xero, then push it into this white labeled version of Silverfin, which will then flow through into the MYOB practice tools. So that is my understanding of how this is going to work.
Cool. Can't wait to hear a bit more from them when we talk to them later.
Absolutely. And then just for follow up on a little bit more AI chat, but Sage did some research fairly recently. And this is a mixture of sort of independent research as well, because they got someone to assist with the collection of this data and worked alongside ACCA as well. But the summary of that was that they reckon there is a 2 billion AI accounting opportunity and the opportunity to create an additional 20,000 jobs in the UK economy as a consequence of utilizing AI. What I really drilled into, which I was really interested in, was that the research labeled accounting professionals as technology optimists, with 61% stating that they believe AI will create more opportunities than risks, and 68% feeling confident that they will be able to adapt AI technologies. There were some underlying markers in terms of issues that people were concerned about, mainly, I guess, things that are probably not untypical from what we heard when the cloud accounting revolution came around. So things like data security, things like remaining compliant, whether or not there were then legal and ethical issues, which is probably a new one, and also being able to clarify and explain what AI is doing, and then some concerns about testing and accuracy of the data. And then the final sort of set of stats that I thought were really, really interesting was there was a summary of where firms are currently using AI technology. And this wasn't focused just on Gen AI. It was looking at the sort of broad umbrella of technologies. 51% of respondents said that they were using chatbots for client communication and support, which I found absolutely staggering. I mean, I personally don't see that many chatbots for clients to interact with the practice firms that they're utilizing. So I wonder if this is more around people are using chatbots within practices to interact with, say, things like Xero Help or QuickBooks Help or whatever. 34% said they were using AI and machine learning tools for automating repetitive tasks. 32% were using AI-driven insights and reporting, which I found quite interesting because quite a lot of that's only fairly recently been launched into products like Sift, which we've talked about. And then others were using OCR and data extraction technologies. But again, the numbers were very small. So you're talking around about a third of practices. So that is fascinating to see, because that just shows that practices have got way to go on just adopting what I would call like the baseline AI technologies before we even get into Gen AI. And I know from research that HLB International did, which is the network that my firm's part of, they have already said that businesses in general adopting Gen AI need to have killer use cases to be able to make a really good fist of kind of getting the most out of AI technologies, and also to be really, really focused around it.
We have had an announcement from Lucy Cohen at Mazuma in that they have appointed Gary Turner onto the board of directors. Gary Turner, hopefully everyone that listens to this pod has heard of. He was the ex-UK MD of Xero. Massive figure in this space, but I think Lucy Cohen is also a massive figure in this space. And I'm not sure who would be more chuffed to be working with whom. I'm sure Gary has been aching to be working with Lucy ever since she's been developing and growing Mazuma, and now getting all of that equity investment as well.
Yeah, I think this is great for both parties, isn't it? And what it's like dream team, I guess.
Like the rock version of Ken and Barbie, or Barbie and Ken, isn't it? Or heavy metal version.
Yeah, it definitely won't be that pink though, would it? Because it'd have to be, it'd have to be more of a Gary Turner and Strive X combo to go for the pink, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Talking about Gary's, Docket AI have announced a new AI-based bookkeeping tool called Gary, which stands for Generative Accounting Retrieval System. They've announced this inevitably into the QuickBooks ecosystem because they're a US-based business. And they have in particular sort of targeted things like franchisees in the hospitality space, and also worked with other organizations such as Subway, Citigo, and Farmers Insurance. And they've been using this tool now for a little time just to sort of beta test it and get it out ready for launch. So what does Gary do? Gary combines precision and predictive AI models with generative AI tools, which in theory should streamline the digital back office. And they have estimated at Docket that they can accelerate the month-end close from 2 weeks down to 45 minutes, which seems like an absolutely staggering amount of time to save. It doesn't actually say in the press release exactly what it is that Gary is doing in terms of, is it handling things like prepayments and accruals? Is it handling, the day-to-day sort of bookkeeping, which, we'll be familiar with things like Genesis, for example. So it'd be great to sort of, learn a little bit more about, what is the detail behind this. But essentially, they have said that it can, help with finding documents, and also you're looking for information that's missing. So it sounds like a little bit of a hybrid of maybe one or two different things that we're familiar with here in the UK. But as I say, they haven't really sort of drilled down into, as far as I'm concerned, how they sort of substantiate that massive claim of being able to reduce, that month-end process to such a short amount of time. But I'm sure we shall see how that works, and we shall also maybe get to learn more about this, particularly if it comes to the UK.
Yeah, I'm skeptical, unsurprisingly. The amount of stuff that goes into, gathering information, reconciling information, reviewing it to do a month-end close in 45 minutes. You're combining a lot of different systems that are, still trying to work out how to deliver AI on just their individual elements. I do not think that's going to be how to do it all. Sorry, Docket, don't believe you. Prove me wrong. So, on a different AI piece of technology, Genesis have released Jack 2.0. So if you've been following Genesis and their journey, what they've been doing is building Jack, which is the automated, I say bookkeeper, but OCR tool. So replacing, what a Dext auto entry Data Molino would do, but use AI to work out where the transaction should be allocated, what VAT should be used, rather than predefined scripts. That is what the first class of OCR tools would do. So Jack was built. They were testing it for a long period of time. It was, I think, due to be released in June or July, and instead they've decided to build Jack 2.0, which has taken, what they've learned from Jack and completely restructured it. Is now going through beta testing has launched, and we'd expect Jack 2.0 to release later in 2024. I'm intrigued by this. I'm intrigued by they've rebuilt it. They've not really said why. They are competing now with another tool in the space called Briefcase that has launched. So I hope that that Jack 2.0 has, I guess, well, the delay of releasing Jack has been because they've identified actually from our initial testing phase, we can do a lot better. We can build it from the ground up. And I'm still very excited to see what this will be like when it formally launches soon.
I've got a little bit of news from QBO. So they've now fully announced, or fully integrated, rather, I should say, their CIS module so that you can now file direct with HMRC. So this is a massive thing for anyone using QBO and using their CIS module, because previously you had to effectively do the manual filing, which is always a bit of a pain in the backside. And to be perfectly honest, other competitors in the market had direct filing for quite a while. So it's good to see that they brought that in. It's a nice little time saver, and everyone wants a sort of a one-click reporting option if they can have it.
Yeah, they've caught up, really. It's been a gap, isn't it, compared to their competitors? They have filled that gap. And I guess this is now not an excuse that I assume some would use to pick the likes of Xero over QuickBooks Online. Need to be filled, and they've done that adequately. Talking about Xero, there has been a bumper release of apps on the Xero App Store in July. We don't normally talk through these, but they were so interesting, I thought I'd pick them up. So one of them was a system called Jobber. If you've not heard of Jobber, that's in the trade area. It's all about, I guess, creating jobs for your trades. So syncs the customer's products, services, and invoice and payments all through to Xero. It's on the smaller end. So if you're looking at the trade sector, it's on the smaller end. But interesting tool there. You've got Prosaic, which there's been a massive amount of discussion on this from over in Australia, in how it helps sole traders and small businesses identify those business expenses that have gone through personal accounts. So if you've got that blend where they're putting all of their, business related costs through their personal account, is that way to automate that and identify additional potential claims that are tax benefits that they can throw through. Got lots of praise over in the Australia region. Be interesting to see how that comes over into the UK. You've got Runway, another forecasting and business modeling tool, all about that kind of early part of a business, looking at how much you've got from a investment perspective and how long that's going to take before you run out of money. Cash flow forecasting, reporting and forecasting. They're very niche in how they're doing it, but there's been a need for this. And so I think it's great that a tool has come and filled that space. And then you've got a system called Compare Your Footprint, another one in that net zero sphere. We've probably got dozens, if not hundreds of these now. So another one that fills that gap. Compare Your Footprint is there. And then one I definitely want to touch on is, do you remember Reducer from way back when, pre-COVID? Reducer are back. They've integrated back into the Xero App Store. They are back and saving money for those businesses that are trying to reduce costs in areas such as insurance and light and heat and phone bills. So if you are an accountant, you can throw your clients that are on your Xero license into Reducer. It'll calculate where there's potential savings, and you can have those discussions with their analysts to work out actually, do we have those conversations with the clients to save the money?
I'm super happy that the Reducer team are back. I remember catching up with them a little while ago just to find out what had been going on in the backstory and things. And it was great to catch up with Rishi and the team and just to see what had been going on. And I think it's been a labor of love, shall we say, to kind of rise, get the phoenix to rise from the ashes of what was there previously. And obviously they took a big hit when things like the energy markets and stuff kind of just came off the rails a while ago, and they couldn't really do what they were traditionally there set up to do. But I think it's delightful to see them back, because that was one of the products I used to love signposting clients towards.
If you do want to know a bit more about app news, please do make sure you subscribe to our newsletter and check out the show notes and any releases that we put on social media. We would love to hear your comments, your thoughts, and if you don't agree with us on anything we talk about, we love a challenge.
we're back again with Kevin Fitzgerald from Employment Hero, and we're now going to move on and talk about what Ryan has described as the Tinder for recruitment. And I'm not entirely sure if that's a reflection on Ryan's experience with Tinder or maybe his experience with recruitment. It could be one or the other or both, who knows. But Kevin, I'd love for you to kind of expand on this very vague point in terms of, what is it that you think you guys have got in Employment Hero in terms of the employee platform and the capabilities that I know you've got in terms of utilizing AI to help match potential candidates to roles that businesses are recruiting for.
Yeah, thanks, John. I don't think we described it as Tinder for recruitment, by the way, but certainly Smart Match seems a little bit more safer, in terms of what we're aiming to do. Ultimately, last year we saw an opportunity because of the way we think about the Employment Hero employee app, which is called Swag. Something that's very important to understand is an individual who's a job seeker can download Swag themselves. They do not need to be attached to an Employment Hero client of ours, and they can download it with the intention of being a job seeker. And the reason why we opened that app up to the public was we can see the consolidated job postings from our clients when they put them into their own ATS. So we have an ATS, and they might advertise 10 jobs this quarter, but they can only afford to pay to post one on the big jobs boards that are out there. So that means that there's 9 jobs actually sitting on their careers page or sitting on their ATS waiting for talent to find. And the reality is, like, in this day and age, there's just too much going on in people's lives and internet time, like, to actually find a role that's not on a jobs board. So we call it the 80% of roles that are not advertised publicly, because it's very hard to get traffic to your careers page if you're an SME. In fact, it's practically impossible. So we've been attracting talent by downloading the Swag app, and the Swag app is, I would say, this is very unique. Like, it functions like a wallet as well. It's got a Visa card capability in it, and people will download and start to actually upload their profile. But a critical thing in the structure of the app is they have to do KYC when they sign up. So we're verifying who these people are. And that's important later on in the process, because if one of our clients hires this individual, we've done some level of KYC. We haven't done reference checks or background checks, but we can onboard them onto their payroll system if they hire them within 20 seconds because we've collected all of their information. And we've spent a bit of time on the AI side of this, like actually linking employers to candidates, and the experience would go like this. Say a typical SME, maybe it's a cafe or a gym, and they have 30 people and they need a barista pretty quickly. As soon as they go into the ATS and start typing the title and the description of the role, we're reading that and we're suggesting templates as well. But when they start to type it out in their own words, we're delving into our candidate database and pulling candidates from the database into their ATS. So the visual experience would be that as soon as they've written the job description, a panel appears on the right-hand side with suggested candidates in the area that you've said would be ideal. So it could be within 5 kilometers, within 500. And then the employer can directly connect with that candidate and start speaking to them about the opportunity and organize a phone call or an interview. And dependent on the role, whether it's blue collar, white collar, junior, senior, the structure is going to be different. But the key thing is we're giving them an opportunity to look at talent for their business before they've actually decided to finish posting the role or brought it to a jobs board and paid, £1,500 or £2,000 or whatever it is. 5 months ago, we started. It took us 4 months to place 100 candidates. And in month 5, we placed another 100. So we've already started to double the number of placements. So we're bringing talent directly to our clients. It's a big thing. Like I think I mentioned to you guys at the start that I used to be an accountant. I took a break in between practice and moving into Xero. And I spent 3.5 years recruiting accountants into accounting firms and financial services businesses. So I've never stepped away from the accounting industry as such. Like, the expense of recruitment, the time that it takes is just insane. And for a typical SME who's trying to get business done and everything is go, go, go each day, we saw that as a major benefit, like to bring them talent in through the smart match system. But like us placing 100 a month, like we want to get to 10,000 a month. Yeah, so that's where we're headed with the system.
I'm going to assume that downloads of the app for non-Employment Hero users probably aren't that big at the moment, and that's probably something that you need to focus in on. And what are you going to do to kind of encourage people to sign up?
Yeah, and we haven't gone really hard in the UK. It's been Australia where we wanted to get the mechanics of the product and the experience right, but like we have not really advertised that much directly to job seekers in the UK. But something that's coming up soon, actually, and it might have happened by the time this podcast goes out. We're very focused on Manchester at the moment, and people are starting to come out of uni, different type of season for hiring, and so we will start to actually focus like by cities as well, like in terms of candidate sign up, and we're speaking to universities for people coming out looking for their first job. We've signed a partnership with Enterprise Nation, who support 250,000 SMEs in the UK around bringing swag and talent and then the Employment Hero platform to their members. So yeah, I'd say we're just getting started, John, is the fair way to say it. And like for me, having worked in recruitment, the pressure that's on people, right? Like when there's a gap in their team, like especially a smaller SME, like we want to be able to back ourselves to fill those roles, So it's effectively what we're trying to do is build a two-sided marketplace. We have, a good volume of SMEs in the UK. It's now over 25,000 SMEs in the UK use Employment Hero. It's now actually starting to ensure that keeps going, but then bring on the candidates directly who are job seekers. And that is a competitive space. Like we're taking on the recruitment industry and jobs boards, and we're very well aware of that.
What you've built there sounds really interesting. It'd be really great to see if you do hit that 10,000 a month metric. I mean, that'd be something else. I think it'd be really, really incredible.
Yeah, it's got to be. There's got to be differentiators, and we've got to challenge ourselves to come up with new and I guess impactful areas in the technology, and also look for correlation of opportunities. Like, we see all the jobs advertised on the ATS. We ask ourselves, well, what are we doing about it? And do we have a right to help there? And this is just one of those examples. Yeah.
Super. Well, thanks very much for that, Kevin. It's great to hear about that. And I'll look forward to the next innovation coming out of Employment Hero.
Thanks, John.
I just think the idea of John being in a field is isn't it just so in keeping with his northern vibe?
I assume a part of normal school education for John was, how to live out in the wild.
Yeah. Like, I just imagine him going, yeah, it's all right. We'll just have a holiday over here in this field.
He puts a stick in the ground. This is our area.
But Daddy is just across the road.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a motorway, and he's just parked on the side. This is it. This is where I'm parking for the night.
John's like, nice holiday, mate. I love it. I think that sounds great. And then he's walking around in his sort of like free accounting tech clothes as well.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think he took a 10, or they had to make it when they got there with what was around?
I reckon that he got a vendor to pay for it.
It's a Dexter branded tent.
Yeah, that's I'm
trying to think of any app that could get out of some promotional material about erecting a tent.
Who would pitch a tent out of the accounting techs out there?
Well, if there isn't, and there hasn't been one, then that's something to do at Accountex North, isn't it? Look, you've got what, 3 weeks or something, less than that? Come on, app vendors. We want to see lots of tents being given away at Accountex North.
Yeah, we need to have one for our next year's awards event. It's going to be a festival in a field.
Maybe not up north though. It's more chance it's going to rain.
We're only going to go in the field across John's house, like across the way from John's house anyway. So
I still like the fact that we've assumed John lives in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by fields.
I think you're pretty accurate. I unfortunately could not live like that or have a holiday like that. So far, what I've done on this holiday, 2 different trips, and then one next week. Gosh, my God. It's a hard life, Ryan. It's a hard life.
Yeah, well, you've been chauffeured everywhere.
I was being chauffeured everywhere. I actually had like a tuk-tuk driver who I called Grandad just because he was crazy. Like he literally stopped in the middle of streets, in the middle of the busiest parts of the Amalfi Coast. And he was like, barely spoke a word of English and was like, here is the... And he was just like, uttered a few words. And all you see left and right of you is the traffic backing up and people looking at you and cursing, like, why are you in the middle of the road? And he was quite content taking his phone and walking into the middle of the road and saying, yeah, picture. Taking a picture of... It was just so funny. I was like, Grandad, can we get back in the tuk-tuk, please?
Well, I think what's more interesting for me is that the way you describe this man is not how I picture a granddad. I am now intrigued about what your granddad was like. That's what you associate with this man.
I think it's because he reminded me of my dad, and like he was so sweet towards my daughter. He was so sweet. He put her in the front of the tuk-tuk and was like, "You drive." It was just like, oh my God, this is terrifying. This is just like my dad would be. Like, stop. And no, so we had like at least the driver one day, and that was just for nice car. Then the driver of the boat, that was a nice day as well on the boat. Then the driver of the tuk-tuk, and then of course the ferry. So,
oh, that's not so nice.
God, no, the walks that we did was Capri, 1 hour. And do you know my daughter? She said, "Mummy, this is like one of those dreams that you have a dream and you don't ever want to have the dream again."
That's so sweet. So, yeah, you're in the Amalfi Coast. Did you at least have some limoncello when you were there?
Limoncello, and my favourite is licorizia.
What's that?
Oh, it's licorice a version of limoncello, where it's like licorice melted down in the alcohol and the sugar and the water. Oh my God, it's so much nicer than like a Baileys. No dairy, and clearly I've not had Baileys in years because of the dairy, but licorizia was like, bah.
See, I hate the flavour of licorice, so I don't think I'd like that. Did you have lemon cream? That was nice.
Well, I can only have it if, it was just a bit of a
Just the
tricky one.
dairy,
I keep
good
asking them, like, oh, do you have, is it with, is it without? Well, anyway, I spent far too much money. That was the one thing I thought was just ridiculous. It was so expensive out there. My God, how do people, it got to the point where I was working out Grandad's, like, the tuk-tuk driver, Grandad,
Yep.
what he must earn in the 6 months that he must work, like maybe 7 months a year. I am so sure this man must earn like at least 160 grand.
Really?
The amount of work you do, the number of hours you do in a day, I just think that if I was 21, what I would do, learn Italian, move to Italy on a visa for some time, learn everything there is to learn about the Amalfi Coast, and just take people on tuk-tuk tours the whole time I'm there. Get in a good deal with a few of the hotels, make my keep, come back here, use that money, buy your first house. My God, please, can someone do that and tell me how it goes?
There you go. No need to go to Dubai to make your money now. It's to be a tuk-tuk driver in the Amalfi Coast. The Amalfi Coast. That's where you need to be. Well, we're very lucky today to be joined by Lisa Myers-Hill, the CEO of Silverfin, and Kim Clark, the Executive of Practice at MYOB, to discuss their recent announcement regarding the strategic partnership that they entered into. So, Lisa, I'm going to hand over to you. Please, can you explain what this strategic partnership is?
Sure thing, Ryan. Strategic partnership sounds really flash, and it's kind of a big deal for us. With MYOB, we get to get Silverfin into the hands of a bunch of Australian accountants. Now, we could go there ourselves, and some of your viewers know that Silverfin's a product and a platform, right? And we're already around the world. Australia makes it the 15th country that we're present in. So we're not just a Belgium, UK thing. We're a global platform. But, if we can work with somebody that's got brand presence and really strong market awareness and doesn't have a super good client accounting solution in a really great market like Australia, then why would you not? That's kind of, I suppose, what I want to say. And so that's what this partnership's about. It's about Silverfin joining forces with MYOB and really looking to disrupt the way that Australian accountants take on their post-accounting work.
Nice. So the power of the combined effort. And we've talked a lot about Silverfin on the podcast. I'm not going to dive into what that platform is. Everyone that's listening should know. But for our younger listeners that may have not experienced MYOB, Kim, can you just explain what MYOB is over in the Australian market?
Sure. So MYOB provides business accounting solutions for small, medium enterprises. So we have around 500,000 of those. Plus, we provide practice solutions to practices. We have a whole area of the business focused on practices, and we have another part of the business that's focused on the mid-market. So these are businesses that range from, let's just say, 10 million turnover, and I'm talking Aussie dollars here, 10 million turnover all the way up until sort of $500 million. So it's a reasonably large business, all the way from small to large, and a specific area focused just on providing practice solutions.
Plus, kind of different between you and the other crowd from down that way. So Xero, global, international focus, MYOB, Australia, New Zealand, and the islands focus only. Absolutely. So that's why some of our younger viewers, Ryan, may not have heard of MYOB because they don't trade up this part of the world or haven't for a very long time.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I am old enough to know of MYOB because I have used the software, but I appreciate that, it's not in the UK anymore. But obviously now the partnership is going to be supercharging the MYOB platform over in Australia. Kim, explain kind of what the benefits are for MYOB of working with Silverfin.
Well, I mean, it really comes down to, if you think about what accountants spend most of their time on in practices, like approximately 60 to 70% of their revenues are derived through compliance. And so being able to provide an incredibly powerful compliance platform that supports the work that they do on client files. And one of the key things for me is being able to work on client files of any colour. And this is a real power of the Silverfin platform. So they don't care whether they're an MYOB purple file, a blue file, or a green file, making sure that practices can have a consistent way of working across their entire business, irrespective of the colour of the file. Super important. That was one of the key requirements that we had. And one of the key reasons why we chose Silverfin, as well as, of course, their ongoing platform developments and support that they've got, particularly around AI and how they're actually supporting accountants. The platform, but basically being able to provide support for accountants being able to work on client files and do their client accounting work papers, financial reporting.
Definitely. And, Silverfin over in the UK and, through Europe's working papers through to accounts and tax. Is that essentially what is going to be happening over in Australia? Is it more of a tech partnership you're doing rather than a marketing related partnership?
Yeah, it's a platform partnership. And so obviously we're leveraging the best of a global platform. You said it yourself, Ryan. It is a global leading platform for providing compliance solutions. We've got our own tax online solutions, a native tax solution. And obviously for us, partnering with Silverfin for the client accounting, work papers, financial reporting, etc. For me, it just completes the core of what most accounting practices need to do it incredibly efficiently to be able to compete in today's world.
And Ryan, I mean, I think for us, because the Silverfin product is both that, like we bring something already built with content to markets like the UK, but because it's a platform and it's designed as a platform, we know that the big firms around the world, they can build their own content. So that it's not like an integration play where, I mean, I'm just going to use an example. If Virus decided to partner with Silverfin, or bought another product, they'd be looking at an integration problem potentially. But Silverfin's a platform, so it isn't an integration. It's the way that we are designed is that anyone can pick up Silverfin and can build content on that platform and localize it. That's the whole point of Silverfin. That's why we can be globally relevant. Is that if we choose to build the content and bring it to market, great, you've got a product off the shelf, away you go. But if we choose not to take it to market ourselves, somebody else can build that localized content, but take that standard structured data and all those kind of ways of working the same way we build it. So they know they're fully supported. It's not a kind of product that's going to get isolated and they're going to get, lonely over there because they've got a variation of the product. It's one product. It's just got that ability to be used as a platform and white labeled as a platform and localized. And we think this is just a really good way, instead of building it yourself.
Yeah.
And I know MYOB could build some great software themselves, but we all know big accounting software firms these days, or anyone actually in SaaS, do you build it or do you partner or buy it? And it's got to be something people are considering. Why build it yourself if there's something else you can bring in?
Yeah, definitely. We've seen some of the more traditional systems, such as MYOB in the UK, promising cloud-based advanced systems for 10, 15 years now, and we're still waiting for them. So this is a quicker way to get to the same goal, isn't it? I assume there's going to be obviously a time delay on any of this to bring it to market, but I'm pretty sure I saw that you've got 10-year partnership. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a decade-long partnership.
Yeah, we're in for a long time, not a quick. No, how does that work? Here for a
good time and a long time.
Good time and a long.
That's
Is that
what
what they
they
say?
for.
No, we're here for a
It's
long
both.
time. Not
Both.
yeah, it's everything. It's everything.
But it is a partnership. It's
Yeah.
a these types of partnerships, you wouldn't be striking them up for a couple of years. For me, anything that you'd be, a partnership like this, if you were thinking for only to do something like this for a couple of years, you're really not strategically investing in one another and what you're trying to build for practices. And that's something that Lisa and I, we spoke about, from the very first conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And for us, it's like we don't want someone that's going to, the first sign of something not going right, sort of throw the toys out of the cot and say, this isn't giving us the short-term return we were after. So we've set our targets, we've set our goals of what does great look like to be much longer than just the next 12 months. And to be fair, in this first 12 months, there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of, sharing understanding between the teams. Kim's been up here this week talking with Silverfin customers, all kinds of sort of awareness building stuff. And we think that's how the partnership's going to work. Yeah. And I know there's people out there that go, when one firm partners with a kind of a smaller piece of software like us, the smaller piece of software just gets neglected or it dies or whatever. Silverfin is really good at what we do, and we are small and we are nimble and we are agile, and we're going to stay being that way. So we want to treat this partnership with some respect and give it the attention and the time. And in return, we're also being realistic about it. These kind of things take time to do well. Let's not rush into it and try and do some hasty kind of go-to-market activity that doesn't really have the kind of legs that the market says, you're bringing something of substance to us. Like, that's the Silverfin way. Like, we're pretty understated on the go-to-market. We like to be known as having the best product. So we're taking that into the relationship with MYOB as well.
Yeah, that all makes sense. And I think there's a lot of frustration in the marketplace on, those partnerships that are announced and then they kind of fizzle out quickly.
Yeah,
if you're saying it's 10 years, you're in this.
Serious.
And I'm sure 10 years wasn't just plucked there because it's a nice number to have. I'm sure there's a good strategic reason for the fact it's 10 years. But what does success look like for both Silverfin and MYOB in this? Like there's not necessarily a time frame on this, but what are the big wins for you both?
I think Lisa actually spoke to it before. I think that the Australian and New Zealand market for practices has been, neglected, to be quite frank, in terms of the compliance solutions that are available to it. And also even having a business that's focused on practices for practices. And hopefully that makes sense in terms of I'm not looking to focus on practices to chase something else. And having a whole engine room that's focused on that. And so, as I said, for me, the two biggest things, if you like, I think facing practices is around that productivity challenge that they've got. 60 to 70% of revenues coming from compliance, and making sure that we're talking to that. And the other one for me is around talent. And obviously, a platform like Silverfin serves both of those challenges that practices are facing. So for me, completely sort of aggressive, to be quite frank, ambitious in terms of the number of practices that I would like to see adopting a cloud-native compliance solution like what we've got with Silverfin. And so for me, that will be the drive. But as Lisa said, if you come out of the gates and you come out super hard and super aggressive, for me, it's around making sure that we're actually targeting the right practices. So we've got waves, profiles of practices that we're looking to target in each wave. And so we'll be doing that progressively with EAP starting in Q1 calendar year next year.
Oh, wow.
And for us, Ryan, like on our sort of what's the Silverfin mission? I mean, it's pretty simple. We want to get to 1 million end businesses in the world being supported by their accountants on Silverfin. And our mission is to make sure that accountants remain relevant and respected in a digitally changing world. We're pioneers in AI. Like we get a bit sick. I mean, we always talk about AI, and I get rolled out to talk about AI. But to be frank, within Silverfin, we've been doing AI and machine learning, the very unsexy form of AI, for a number of years now, because it's all about the automation that can be brought to accountants that keeps accountants in control. But, as per that meme that's floated around, with the woman, I want AI to help with the washing and the dishes so I can do more art and music. I don't want AI to do my art and music so I've got more time for dishes and washing, right? So we're really focused on how is it that we can help accountants to be relevant and respected in a digitally evolving environment, which it clearly is, so that 1 million businesses in the world, we believe, with the influence of accountants, will be better businesses. And going back a little bit to my Unleashed days, I sound a bit altruistic here, but we believe that when businesses do better in the world, when we have better businesses in the world, that's better for all of us, right? We're all consumers. We're all a member of societies that need businesses to be performing well. When businesses don't perform well, when accountants aren't able to help those businesses perform well, I think we're all poorer for it. So that's kind of what motivates and drives us. And if we can get to that goal, through a partnership as opposed to going there ourselves, as much as I have got a very long queue in the office of people who want to go and set up Silverfin and ANZ, and I do have a long list, it is smarter for us to look at options like this. And, sort of in closing, what I also want to say is I think that you can do these partnerships if you're thoughtful about them. Like, we've
been working on this for 9 months.
9 months we've been working on how to make this partnership work. So we're not just doing it blindly. It's not just a market announcement that says, oh, guess what? We're going to get some more clicks. But what I also want to be is a kind of pioneer in saying those best in breed accounting products, products that serve accountants, sometimes the path to market and the path to getting them in the hands of users isn't always going it alone. And I've been in a number of software businesses, and you know me, Ryan. I think when you've got a good product at the heart of your offering and you stay true to that, then it's the go-to-market stuff that can evolve and adapt depending on the circumstances and the customers you're choosing to go after. We're going to focus on being a great product that serves accountants. And then if these guys are best at getting that into market, then that's a smart move for us. And we don't have to focus on that. We'll put all that effort and energy back into building some more great product and platform features. Like, I know it sounds a bit boring. I'm a product business person, and I just want to build the best products we can. So
building advanced AI and accounting tech's really boring, Lisa. Yeah. So look, obviously we're a mostly UK focused podcast, and obviously this is mostly going to affect the Australian market, but Silverfin is penetrating more and more accounting practices in the UK. Just for clarity, this is only affecting the Australian or the market down there. This has no impact on Silverfin outside of that market. Is that correct?
No, it hasn't, except for maybe a positive impact, Ryan. Like one of the things we like about being an international player and bringing, we bring insights from all of those markets and all those accountants we're serving into the UK and into the way we look at our product roadmap and our vision. We talk to the accountants in Belgium and we see what they're doing and we pick the best bits of that and we go, that should go on the product. And some of that stuff UK accountants have never contemplated. This gives us just another opportunity to look at what another market is doing. Now, the post-accounting solutions in Australia might be behind what we've got, but I can guarantee you we're going to find some things going on in Australia and New Zealand that are innovative and more progressive than what we're doing up here in the UK. So I think our UK customers and our UK prospects are going to get some benefits of that. But I think overall what they're going to get the benefit of is we stay really committed to our goal of being the best client accounting, post-accounting, compliance accounting solution powered by AI. A deal like this means that we don't have to deviate from, we don't have to go and get, we don't have to go and get
It's
funding.
not a distraction.
It's not a distraction. It's totally in our wheelhouse. It's totally in line with what we do. And therefore, any of our customers in the UK will be going, well, look, I'm expecting that the success of Silverfin means the success of my practice because more investment in that product is only going to be good for us. So we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere post a Visma acquisition. We're certainly not changing our focus. And I think this just proves it, just a little bit more maybe.
Thank you both for coming on. It's been great talking to you and learning a bit more about the strategic partnership. It sounds a lot more in depth than a lot of the ones that we hear about. And it's going to be beneficial, I think, both North and South hemispheres.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. And as Ryan mentioned earlier, our awards event is upcoming. So please make sure that you keep posted on the ticket sales. Join us for the evening if you can. It will be a night to remember. We would love it if you can join us because we've built a really great community of people around the events, and we really want to make sure that we're honouring and rewarding those people that are doing such good work in our space. So really look forward to seeing you at Accountex North and hopefully catch you on the next podcast. Thanks, bye.